Writers, often the climax of the story, and then also the following action and the resolution, lead to some kind of character change, and usually that character change teaches the reader some kind of theme. I want to teach you today 4 different techniques to develop character change and theme in the climax and really throughout the story. The 4 techniques we're going to talk about are really signposts. They're words that you plant into the text to make your reader see the character having an aha moment. Or you can use the again and again technique by using repetition to show a theme. You can also use words of the wiser. This is where someone older and hopefully wiser gives the main character some advice. And then the last one we're going to talk about is memory moment, where the character thinks back to some memory that serves as a catalyst for some kind of realization or recognition on the part of the main character that leads to a theme. Let's look at an example of an aha moment from the story Fear by Terry Truman. An aha moment is when the character has a sudden realization, and usually there are some signal words like, he realizes and flashes in an instant, or I suddenly realized, or it occurred to me. An academic word for this is an epiphany. When the character has an aha moment and the reader reads those signal words, they think, oh wait, once he realized this, something's going to change for the character. And in this story, as soon as Zoe realizes that he'd rather be dead than this afraid, if he'd rather be dead, then he really has nothing at all to lose. And that's where he digs down and gets some courage and tells the intruders he's going to call the robbers. Because he had this realization, what does it matter? I'd rather be dead than this afraid. Another technique writers use is repetition. We call this the move again and again. When an author repeats a line or refers to an image, an object, or an idea again and again, the reader usually asks, why is this important? Why does this keep coming up? In Fear by Terry Truman, Zoe says the line again and again, I'd rather be dead than this afraid. By the time he gets to the last one, something inside his chest has happened. Something like he's able to breathe again and he's able to think, and now he's angry. I'd rather be dead, he whispers. And that's the point right then where he's really able to call the police. But Truman has extended the climax. He's stretched it out by having him think it several times. Words of the wiser is a technique where you have an older or wiser character give the main character some words of advice or comfort. Oftentimes it's like a mother, a grandmother, or mentor, like a Dumbledore character, but it can be a best friend or someone else who has more insight or wisdom than the main character. And usually they say something like, honey, I know it seems tough now, but, or sometimes in life, and then they give some advice, some words of wisdom. And example 1 is Fish Cheeks by Amy Tan. And here Amy is just mortified. She's so embarrassed by a Christmas dinner her Chinese mother prepares for the American family of the boy she has a crush on when she's 14. And at the end, her mother tells her, you want to be the same as American girls on the outside. She handed me an early gift. It was a mini skirt in beige tweed. But inside you must almost be Chinese. You must be proud you are different. Your only shame is to have shame. Another example is from The Bracelet by Yoshiko Yoshida. And here, the main character has gone away to an internment camp during World War II, and her best friend from before the war had given her a bracelet to remember her by, which she's lost. I didn't stop looking until the day we were sent to another camp called Topaz in the middle of a desert in Utah, and then I gave up. But Mama told me never mind. She said I didn't need a bracelet to remember Lori, just as I didn't need anything to remember Papa, or our home in Berkeley, or all those people and things we loved and had left behind. Those are things we carry in our hearts and take with us no matter where we are sent, she said. And so the mother is giving her words of wisdom about carrying the things you love in your heart. And at the end of the story, she says, and I guess she was right, I've never forgotten Lori even now. The last technique is called memory moment. And sometimes in the climax, the character thinks back to a memory, to a prior time when that helps them make a realization for their current life. And other times, the character looks back on a whole story. But either way, using a memory of something to spur an aha moment, sometimes it's to recall words of the wiser, can also help develop your theme. In these two stories, in Fish Cheeks, the main character Amy realized it wasn't until many years later that she really understood her mother's lesson. And in The Bracelet, the same thing. The main character's thinking back and realizing her mother was right. And that's how she knows that the lesson was correct. So in the story, Ms. Maxwell and I are writing about Sarah going babysitting at the Jensens and having everything go wrong. We've tried to do little bits of each of these. For example, at the very beginning, when her mom is dropping her off, she says to call her if she needs anything and says that toddlers are tough, my mother warns. They can really get into a lot of trouble. At that point, Sarah shrugs at her offer and thinks, how hard can it be? When things have gotten the worst, at the climax, Sarah has an aha moment. And we said, for a moment, time freezes. In that moment, I realize that when I knocked on Ms. Jensen's door this evening, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. My mother was right. Toddlers really can get into a lot of trouble. So you could also say this is some repetition. She's thinking back, and you could say, hey, this is a memory moment. She's thinking back to what her mother told her earlier in the evening. When her mom then comes over, she says, Sarah says, these two are a nightmare. And then the last thing is her mom says, sounds like it's been quite a night for you. And Sarah says, you tried to warn me, I admitted. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I was ready for this. And her mother gives them some words of comfort. She says, you are ready for this, Sarah. And next time it will be easier. You'll see. Sarah's not so sure. She says, next time, as if. As you see, there can be a lot of overlap in these techniques, but try to use one or more of them in different places in your story to help develop your character change and to establish a theme. Good luck!